guys, welcome to According to Ash. We're going to go ahead and kick this off. We're going to talk about Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens. Okay, this video is going to have a lot of spoilers, so I'm just going to let you know right now if you haven't seen it yet, which I don't think that's possible. It's been out for a while now. But if you haven't seen it yet, don't go any further. I'm going to be spoiling some things for you in this. That being said, let's proceed. Okay? First things first, I want to talk about things that I liked. Okay, so right off the bat, we're introduced to a new character, Poe Dameron. Okay, this guy is a gangster. Alright, this fool is on point. I like the way he talked. I like the way he carried himself. Kylo Ren showed up. You know, he was just like, who's going first? Am I going first? Are you going first? Like, how are we doing this whole thing? His inflection in his voice, the way he delivered his lines. Oscar Isaacs, he killed this thing. And I know that, you know, at first when J.J. Abrams brought this to him, they were talking about him being killed off. And it would have been at the point, you know, when he crashes with Finn. But I guess, you know, he said, I want to be in this movie more. I don't want to die right off the bat and then have some extended universe books written about me and things of that nature. I want to be in the movie. I want to be a character. So JJ did a little bit of rewrite, a little bit of reworks, and you know, as we see, he comes back, he kicks some ass, he destroys the Star Killer planet. Total boss. Okay? So that's first. Tied into that, actually, with Poe, is that blaster shot he gives Kylo Ren. Now, I'm going to get into Kylo Ren, but oh my god. That's something we have never seen before. The freeze he does, when Kylo Ren blasts at him, he just freezes that beam. Oh my god. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I've never seen anything like that before. I loved it. This movie, you know, in general, it really goes in depth with the Force. I mean, things that we've never seen before. It really showed us what the Force is capable of, more so than, you will get me a, you know, hot dog, and the guy go, oh, I will get you a hot dog. You know, more than shit like that. We really saw some awesome Force powers in this, which was great. You know, Finn. Moving forward, going on to Finn. FN2152, whatever his thing was, you know, he's like, I'm not going to call you that. Poe's like, I'm not going to call you that. I'm going to call you Finn. He's like, okay, yeah, I like that. Cool. Tight. John Boyega, the actor that plays Finn, this fool's on point. He has this thing where he's that's his signature, like, I'm in distress face. If you watch the movie, you'll see it over and over and over again. He does the sweating. He does that all the time. But it's cool, you know. He does that, and Rey does this. She has her teeth out, like, all the time. Rey's just like, I liked his character a lot. I have a friend who just kept saying the whole time after we saw the movie that, I don't understand this character. I don't understand the motivations behind this character. Like, why is he here? And to me, you know, it just is what it is. He's a stormtrooper that defects, and by doing so, he really brings the whole gang together. I mean, without him, there would be no story. And that's all it is. I mean, what goes on from what we get from him moving forward, I don't know. I mean, he had his spine kind of scorched by Kylo Ren. So who knows? He could end up being, you know, a Stephen Hawking type of character moving forward, but from what we saw right now, that's just what it is. He's a stormtrooper that defected. He said, oh my god, one of the most beautiful scenes I thought in the movie was when his buddy gets blasted and he goes and touches his face, and he leaves that blood stain on his helmet. And that was beautiful on so many levels because we have never seen blood really in Star Wars. you know, the lightsabers cauterize the wounds right away, so you don't really see any blood. And we saw blood from Kylo Ren beating on himself. This is the first time we've really ever seen blood in Star Wars, and I thought it was beautiful. That imagery of the white stormtrooper helmet with that blood stain, the handprint on his face. Oh, JJ killed this movie. I'm sad that he's not going to do the next one. But it is what it is. You know, we got a beautiful movie out of him. I think he's going to be in the process still moving forward, but he won't have as much of a handprint on it as he's had on this one. Rey. Let's talk about Rey. Rey is a G. Okay, this girl, where did she come from? Who is she? I mean, we're all speculating she's Luke Skywalker's daughter. I thought before I saw the movie that her and Kylo Ren were twins or brother and sister in some way. Especially because as the movie went on, there's that scene where Kylo Ren throws that temper tantrum, which I loved, by the way. That was awesome. You know, he just goes emo, it just destroys that control panel. And he's like, is there anything else? And the guy goes, there was a girl. You know, and he's like, what girl? See, and I thought, like, okay, he's got to know her, because he freaked out about that. And I thought for the longest time, the brother and sister, they're twins or something, you know. But since Leia never, you know, says anything about, oh, this is my daughter, and Han never says this is my daughter, we're pretty sure at this point that they're not brother and sister. They might be cousins, you know, or they know her somehow, but at this point they're not brother and sister. But this girl, I mean, besides the fact that she's a kick-ass Jedi, defeats Kylo Ren in a badass way, she, you know, she's independent, she's strong, she's a strong female character, and we haven't really had that in Star Wars either. The trend of this movie is all about things that we haven't had in Star Wars, coupled with the things that we loved about Star Wars that we wanted to have. You know, this girl has so much spunk and tenacity, and every time Finn tried to grab her hand to say, come on, let's go, she's like, what are you doing? Let go of my hand, let go of my hand. I can handle this myself. Like, the TIE fighters come and blast that tent, and he falls on his ass. And she's like trying to help him up, and he's like, are you okay? And she's looking at him like, are you kidding me? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm okay. And she can fly planes and, you know, I mean, she's a badass. She can do it all. And we haven't really seen strong female characters. I mean, we had Padme in the first two. She kicked some ass in the second movie a lot. But then in the third movie, she just kind of was totally dumbed down to just a pregnant, you know, didn't have any role at all after that. And so since then, it's refreshing to see a strong female character. I mean, we had Leia. She was kind of badass, but I'm going to get into Leia a little bit in this movie, which one of the things I'm not happy about. But Rey's a kick-ass character, and what her origin story is going to be, we don't know. We'll see later on. One thing I know, I saw the movie twice, and the second time I saw it, I noticed that in that flashback scene when she's touching Anakin's lightsaber, she was actually, when she's a child in that flashback scene, she's left with that guy that gives the rations. If you see, you can see his hand holding her. For whatever reason, they leave her with the ration guy. And he kind of, as we can see, he's always kind of cheating her on rations and stuff, and he's trying to get her kind of screwed up with he calls in his guys to come get BB-8. You don't see any real, you know, fatherly, daughterly, or protective nature coming from him towards her. If anything, he's always cheating her. And that was interesting to me to see that she was left in his hands. So maybe she was sold to him, or, you know, I don't know, because he is that guy that's kind of, you know, does the shady sales and, you know, buys things and tries to cheat people with their rations. And so I don't think he would take Rey on as a daughter. I think it was more of a transaction, because as we can see, when she goes in the beginning, right when we see her, and she's looting spaceships to try and find parts to give to him for rations. And she's sitting there scrubbing them with that old lady. Those little dudes, she spaces out for a second looking at the old lady like, oh my god, is this what my life is going to be like? Am I going to be her and still doing this? The little dude is like, hits her and is like, hey, get back to work. And, that means she's like an employee almost. Like, or a slave, I don't know, but, she's not exactly a daughter figure for that guy, which I thought that was really interesting. I didn't notice that until I saw it the second time. From there, obviously, Han Solo, Chewie, they really kicked ass in this movie. The comedy that we see, the back and forth between them, like, when Chewie's doing his little thing, and Han's like, oh, you're cold? He's got this whole furry body, and Han's just an old man. Chewie's complaining a lot in this movie. He's talking to that nurse about, yeah, they were everywhere and they blasted me, and she's like, oh, I'm sure you were very brave and all that stuff. Like, Chewie was pretty badass in this movie. And the crossbow, oh man, we saw that a lot in this movie, to the point where even Han, takes it from me, and he's commenting on it, on how badass it is, on how great this device is, and how he wants to use it, which was funny to see, because it was badass. Like, you'd shoot it and dudes would be flying. We gotta get into the thing that was the hardest of it all, and that would be Han Solo's death. Okay, this to me was an amazing scene, but a horrendous scene at the same time. Like, something you did not want to see. Harrison Ford wanted to be killed off. I mean, that was his thing. I don't know if that was in the contract, like, I have to die in this movie if I come back. Because I know he wanted to be killed off in the original 3 at some point. And that's always been a thing he's wanted. He's wanted to be killed off, but it was an amazing scene, because we see finally for the first time this father and son interaction between Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, and Han Solo. And we see Kylo say to him, I need help. Can you help me? I need the strength to do something. And you just knew at this point, you knew this was coming. The second that he goes out onto that bridge, the bridge that goes God knows where, like, it's always on a bridge, on a long bridge, you always know there's going to be trouble there. And the second he goes out onto that bridge, okay, something shitty's about to happen here. And we all saw it coming. Everybody knew it was coming, but at that point. But it didn't make it any easier. It was really hard to see. Kylo Ren is the most amazing villainous character in the Star Wars universe, in my opinion. The internal struggle of this guy is unreal. So much so that it even shows in his lightsaber. If you look at everyone else's lightsabers, it's a strong beam. It's a strong... It's like this. It's just, strong ass beam. His, it's raw. You can see little, pieces of the beam. It's jagged. It's not a perfect cylinder. Just like him. He's jagged. He's not a perfect being yet. He's very rough around the edges. We see him multiple times struggling with his dark side and light side feelings on where he wants to go and what he needs to do. And, where his motivations come from, I don't know. Because ultimately, the person that is his idol, Darth Vader, ended up choosing to go towards the light at the end of Return of the Jedi. And how that doesn't factor into his mind, that this guy really ended up being good at the end, and why he's hanging on to the darkness of him, I don't know. I mean, I heard there was a fan theory. Somebody's father said that they think that Kylo Ren is actually good, and he's trying to do some sort of double agent type stuff by infiltrating with Snoke and get to the dark side so he can destroy him. And that's why he's having this internal struggle of killing his father, because he doesn't want to have to do it, but he has to do it to be able to go to the next level in his training with Snoke, to get deeper and deeper into this undercover status that he's trying to build for himself. If that happens to be the case, who knows? It's a little extreme to kill your father, to go that deep, but ultimately if it's to bring an end to the dark side, juice worth the squeeze in that sense, I don't know. That's kind of a hard decision to make. But this character to me is so amazing. Okay, first of all, when I first saw the movie, I thought he was such a badass with his helmet on. And I kind of started to not like him as much when in the scenes where he took his helmet off. Because I know everybody's kind of expecting to see this, scarred or ugly dude, and then he comes out with this, Antonio Banderas type hair, and Jon Snow locks, and he's not scarred at all. He's just a normal dude wearing this mask. And I kind of felt like it took me out of the fantasy of him as this evil being when he took the helmet off. The voice changed. He didn't have the modulator anymore. I didn't like it at first. Second time I saw it, and the more I thought about it actually, I liked it a lot. Because it just plays into the theme of who he is this entire time. I mean, this imperfect person who is struggling, on the inside and out. And I love that he throws those temper tantrums. I love that he's, not perfect. That we see his the only other Sith that we saw, go from being, becoming a Sith or, was Anakin. And that was really, we saw little things here and there. Number 2, he, killed all those creatures that took his mom and killed his mom. But for the most part, his turn was really in the 3rd movie. And it was a matter of 3 minutes. 1 second he's trying to stop Mace Windu and saying that's not the Jedi way to destroy Palpatine. And then 3 minutes later, in the movie, who knows what the time frame is there, but 3 minutes later of what we're watching, he's killing kids, younglings all of a sudden. So, and it just felt incomplete. He just didn't buy it so much. I understand, okay, if he's deciding to go this way, then he's committed at this point. But it was just too much, it was too much too quick. With Kylo Ren, we really get to see this guy struggling. It's believable what we're seeing from this guy. It's great. I love it. I love to see his internal struggle. I love to see, when he finally did kill his dad, and Chewie goes, "Ah!" and goes, blasts them, and he gets shot. And then the whole time he keeps hitting himself, and he's bleeding on his shoe and in the snow. He gets his ass kicked. And people are thinking, man, this guy sucks. Even Finn kind of held his own for a couple minutes there. But, you got to take into account, this guy was pretty fucked up. He took a crossbow shot to the gut, and that thing just sends people flying in the air. So he was pretty messed up at that point. And then we see that awesome battle between him and Rey, where she takes the lightsaber, and they have that huge battle, and he says to her, you need a teacher. I can teach you the way. And she just closes her eyes for a second, which to me was kind of, she's standing there in the middle of a battle, and she just kind of she has time to close her eyes and, take it all in for a second. I don't know how that happens, but she does, and then she remembers her Force, powers, and just, kicks his ass. I did not like what I saw from Leia. Carrie Fisher to me looks kind of busted. I hate to say it, but I don't know how much Botox she had before this movie, but There was zero emotion in her face. And not just, the fact that after Han died, she just kind of like falls to the ground for a second. There's no mourning period. That's one thing that drove me crazy about this movie, was that Han gets killed, but there's no mourning for him. Chewie has his one moment with the crossbow, but you don't really see anybody mourn him. Maybe, I don't know, have a ceremony for him, have something. It just felt like, okay, Han's dead now. Rey, you're my co-pilot. Let's go find Luke. I mean, there was no period there where people were just kind of soaking it in that this beloved character has been killed, and not just been killed by his son. Especially for Leia, you'd think, oh my God, you were the one that really pushed Han to go talk to him. You're his father. Go talk to him. You can bring him back. And Han says, he's got too much Vader in him, which was cool because I don't think we've ever seen Han ever say the word Vader. I don't think. And to say that was really cool. But we saw no emotion, from her. Carrie Fisher, I know she had, kind of a screwed up past after the movies came out and everything, and good for her for bringing it all together, but I just didn't really like her acting in this movie, especially when everyone else's was at such a high level. Hers kind of stood out as not being as good. When you've got Finn and you've got Rey just killing it, and Han doing his thing, Poe Dameron, I mean, everybody was great. Kylo Ren. It felt a little lackluster from her. Some other things I didn't like. General Hux. I hated this guy. I thought he was totally miscast. He was too young and just did not have a face that was believable for the character he was trying to portray. At all. Even when he gave his big speech before they blasted, their death weapon and destroyed those planets, which was awesome because I don't think we've ever seen we've seen planets get destroyed, but we've never seen the planet itself's perspective of being destroyed. And we see those people, which kind of look like Coruscant, but I don't know where it was. Kind of looked like Coruscant, but standing there, they could just see the purple beam coming at them. I mean, what do you do at that point? There's nothing. You can't jump in the car and drive away. I mean, your whole planet is about to be destroyed. There's nothing you can do. And that was so cool to see that. I know some people didn't like it because, okay, we've seen this a lot. And okay, a lot of people complain this is pretty much like, the fourth movie. But yeah, there's some elements in it that are like that. But I thought it was different on its own in a lot of ways. Just, by the characters and everything, enough that it was a great movie. And General Hux, again, I did not like. I didn't like, I liked his scenes with Kylo Ren where they're bickering back and forth and they talk to Snoke. But I just thought the whole character was miscast. I thought we needed kind of an older guy. It's not really believable. How did this young dude become a general all of a sudden? Especially when he doesn't seem very ferocious or scary, and doesn't seem like a badass. So it wasn't very believable at all. That was kind of a thing I didn't like. Snoke, I don't like that name, Snoke. Just like a lot of people, I think, don't like it. But I'm hearing that people are thinking he's really Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis, we know, in the third movie, Palpatine spoke of Darth Plagueis as being his master and how he was able to really hone in and master the ability of life and death and immortality. And Snoke, in the times that we saw him, his face, he just looked like a scar. He looked like Deadpool. In the commercials, you see him without his mask on, and The one guy is like, you look like an old avocado had sex with an even older avocado. That's kind of what he looks like. I mean, he looks like he's been through some shit. And so if it's Darth Plagueis, that's going to be pretty awesome to see. I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen from this point on. I mean, so many things. Han's dead at this point. Rey goes and finds Luke. And in a very weird scene where, even though it was beautiful, that island was beautiful, but that scene where she holds the lightsaber out and he just kind of stares at her, and then they go back to her holding it out, he just keeps staring. I mean, he looked badass with the beard and the long hair. Kind of makes you think of Ben Kenobi, but it is kind of a weird exchange, you know, just standing there and staring. I mean, I don't know, it's kind of prolonged, I thought. But where's that going to go from that point on? I don't know. That was awesome to see. So we got we got Han's dead. We found Luke. Kylo Ren's getting closer and closer to becoming like his hero, Darth Vader. I mean, he got fucked up in this movie. Took a bunch of lightsaber blasts to the body, and you know, he took that crossbow shot to the gut. He's kind of fucked up. So we'll see where he goes from here with his training that Snoke said, you know, bring him in, I gotta train him. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know where things are gonna go at this point. I'm really excited to see the next movie. I don't know. Overall, I love this movie. It was a bona fide win. You gotta see it if you haven't seen it yet. Hopefully if you're watching this by this point, you have seen it. But hopefully we get to also find out where Maz gets the lightsaber. That was kind of a throwaway movie magic thing. Oh, I got this lightsaber, but it's a story for another time, you know. One of those little throwaway scenes. Hopefully we'll get to find out kind of where she got it. Otherwise, you know, they gotta do shit like that. Because if they don't, otherwise you get a 4-hour movie and it's not possible. So I'm really excited to see, hopefully, a lot more Force effects in the next film. We get to see them delve deeper into how the Force works. We get to see Rey train with Luke. That'll be crazy. I am so excited to see, you know, where things are going to go from this point on. Star Wars is back in a big, big way. Go ahead and just comment. Tell me what you guys think. How did you guys feel about the movie? What did you guys think about the death of Han? Did you guys like General Hux? We all know I didn't. So yeah, go ahead. I just want to know what you guys think. You know, get some thoughts. So go ahead and comment. Subscribe if you guys like the video. Like the video if you guys liked it. But don't dislike it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, right here on According to Ash.